and welcome to this week's Safety Shop Walk video. In this week's video, we're going to re-release the safety harness policy for boom lift and scissor lifts. There's been recent confusion with managers and employees about what constitutes to being sent home when you are using a boom lift or a scissor lift without a harness. Now, please watch this video. In this video, we talk what requires a harness, such as a boom lift and scissor lift. And later in the video, we describe with clarity what a sent home is. So please observe the video, and we'll go to the video, and then we'll talk about it at the end. So here's what the change is. For boom lifts, you will continue to be required to wear a body harness and lanyard every time you're operating that unit, going up, driving around, moving around, and so forth. And as our existing policy says, you will also be required to wear that body harness when you're exiting the boom lift onto a walking elevated surface above 4 feet. You will always be attached to your unit with a double lanyard on your harness and attached to your secondary point of contact, and then detached to dismount and walk onto the other surface. That's always been, and that's going to remain. Now, for the scissor lift, we are making a change for the scissor lift. And on the scissor lift, you will not be required to wear a body harness and lanyard for normal operations of that scissor lift, going up, down, driving, and so forth. You are no longer required to wear it. However, the only requirement for you to wear this harness and lanyard for the scissor lift will be when you're dismounting the scissor lift to walk onto a elevated platform above 4 feet. For instance, our ovens, our autoclaves, or etc., or other surfaces that are above 4 feet. At that time, the same rule will apply. So if you're being assigned to a job that's going to require you to exit the unit, please make sure that you're wearing your harness and your double yo-yo lanyard so that you can attach, like I just described with the boom lift, be attached. Then you, before you dismount the unit, you attach to the secondary connection line, and then you detach safely and so forth. So that's how you properly use that. You follow the same steps in reverse. You never detach. The key is that you're always attached to a point of contact for both units when you're dismounting. So when you're gonna re-enter your unit, you keep yourself attached to your overhead and never detach until you're inside your unit, and then you attach securely to your unit. Once you're attached, you can go ahead and detach. And that is especially for the boom lift. Now, on the scissor lift, keep yourself attached, and once you're inside the unit, if you're no longer going to step out of it, at that point, you don't have to reattach yourself anywhere else, and that is for the scissor lift. So hopefully this gives you an understanding of how the policy is going to work. Now, the other update to the policy, we had a previous policy where the moment you step onto the unit, you must be harnessed. And if you weren't wearing a harness and lanyard attached to your unit, it was going to be an immediate sent home. Now, for the boom lift, it's still a violation, and it will be recorded as a violation, and you will not be sent home. The same rules apply of repeated violations and so forth. However, you will be sent home for walking onto a secondary surface or an elevated surface without wearing the harness and not being attached. It can lead to death if you were to fall from an elevated surface, and it will be an immediate sent home. This rule also applies to the scissor lift. If you know that you're going to dismount the unit, you must wear the harness. It is not an option, and you must be attached at all times, as I described earlier. Failure to be attached and with your lanyard and your harness, again, for that will result in a sent home. Well, we reached the end of our video. Hopefully now everybody has a clear understanding of the policy. We are going to be updating our classes. We're going to be updating our orientation and everything so that the policy is clear for everyone. However, let's recap on the policy. For one, a scissor lift. If you're operating the scissor lift, you don't need to wear a body harness with a lanyard unless you plan to dismount the unit to walk onto an elevated platform that is 4 feet or above, such as an autoclave or so forth. At that time, you must wear the double yo-yo. You're attached to one point, and you only detach once your secondary point is attached to. Okay? And as far as the boom lift, the policy for the boom lift is that you must wear the lanyard and harness at all times. And if you are going to dismount the unit, you follow the same process of wearing a double yo-yo to dismount the unit and get onto your secondary surface. As far as the send home policy goes, well, hopefully this also sheds some light to the policy, which means if you are caught on a boom lift not wearing a lanyard, you're going to have progressive disciplinary action as long as you're inside your basket and you had no intent of stepping off the unit. You forgot to attach yourself. Okay? However, if you're caught dismounting the unit onto a walking elevated platform on both scissor lift and the boom lift, that will be an immediate suspension and sent home. So hopefully this sheds some light. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.